A somewhat scary unboxing for me, as it's a commitment to work on the computer. And it's not a whole computer rebuild, it's like half my computer rebuild. Unfortunately, the video card I had my eye on, which was an expensive card, went out of stock before I made this order. I looked for the same card on Amazon and other places, and oh my god, that card is outrageously expensive. I thought it was bad on NewEgg, but it's like $1,000 everywhere else. So, may contain awesome. It might. Interesting. So it looks like they did a good job packing. There's not a lot of, free room for anything to shift around. That's good. They didn't use a lot of tape, though. They only had one layer of tape. It's a little reinforcement thing here, I guess, to keep it from popping open, but very minimal on the tape. I made it, though. None of the tape failed, so I can't complain too much. And there we go, the rudiments of my rebuild. Memory is so expensive right now. Hopefully, maybe I'll change down the road and get 2 more of these. Probably should have enough memory with what I got, 16 gig. This is a little converter, IDE to SATA. I probably should, these were fairly expensive. This is like 18 bucks. And it's so I don't have to buy a new optical drive. Puts on one of my old optical drives. I don't see IDE support on any of these new motherboards. Packing list, pretty obvious though. The processor, I went around, I was going to get the Ryzen 7. I went all the way down to the 5. Well, I don't know if it was a 7, the 1700 anyway. I figured, I could have spent 50 bucks more and gotten 8 cores instead of 6 cores. But that processor is a little bit slower in raw speed, and I'm wondering how many applications will actually use all those threads. You get 8 cores, 16 threads, or 12 threads out of the 6 core here. But these are faster threads than the other chip. I think I'm probably ahead going with the faster chip. Because I don't think that much software is going to use all those threads at once. I multitask like crazy, but still, I think this might be my better choice. We'll see. Well, I'm stuck with the choice now. And I didn't trust my power supply, being that it was quite old, and another YouTuber did a whole teardown on that power supply I'm using, because his failed on him. It wasn't a disastrous failure, it failed though. And it had a bulging cap in it that was about to fail too, so I haven't looked at my power supply. Well, when I take it out, I will do a little, maybe it'll become a bench power supply or something. But there's my new power supply. I went with this brand because that same YouTuber knows what caps are in here, and they're a good brand of caps. That's one thing. And all the ratings, the 80 plus, gold. I wasn't going to get modular. This one's called semi-modular, where some of the cables are modular, some aren't, I guess. But no Chinese capacitors, very good. And there's the Ryzen and the big one. And the reason I made this order now, even though it's only a partial order without a video card, is this motherboard was about to get way expensive, and the processor too, I think. The sales were ending on these on this order. The items in this order were mostly on sale, and especially this motherboard. I saw the new price on it and I panicked. And I still had the old price in my cart, so I went ahead and checked out. But this should be a good board. I've had really good luck with ASRock. My first build I ever made was an MSI build, or what became MSI. Then my next build was that ASRock that I'm using now, and this will be my third, pretty much. I'm calling it a rebuild, but it's pretty much a whole build, even though I'm going to do it in pieces. I guess I'll pull this apart and get back to you. Some of the features. Documentation and driver. Probably a boot manager. That's what it was on my last board. Came with a boot manager. Kind of nice. And we got a shield. And a lot of other good little accessory stuff. And the motherboard itself. They should make boards pretty these days. And they actually use these audio electrolytic capacitors on the audio output. Only place you'll see electrolytics on a motherboard anymore. Now that everything's gone to those solid electrolytics instead of the aluminum electrolytics. But these are a little better for audio, supposedly. And the big thing about this board is the way it handles power to the chip. It's got all these power channels. I'm no expert on how all that goes, but it's kind of an unusual board because of that. I just better get little mischief man away. Jarl, get over there. No static. No cat static on the motherboard. Closer look at all the goodies. Power supply comes with a whole pack of cables. It's a semi-modular, so the essential cables you're all going to use are permanently attached. So it has like half the amount of connectors a full modular would have, which is good because I'm not really sold on the modular idea. I know it cuts down on unnecessary cables. If you don't need them all, you don't have to have them all. Of course, you could always chop a regular power supply if I was that fussy about it. Obviously, you can plug these in when you add something, so pretty good. Closer look at the rip jaws. All too expensive. Nothing in the processor box, but a little box inside the box. I'm going to have to get some heat stuff. I'm going to have to try to reuse my same heatsink. I thought of buying a whole new computer because a whole new case. It would have been nice to be able to leave the one build alone and then have a whole new build, but there's too many components I want to reuse. The cooler itself is an expensive component. And there's not a whole lot else I'm going to reuse. That and the case, pretty much. Maybe some of the optical drives. I got an adapter for one of them. So I'm going to attempt a partial rebuild here. I'm going to attempt to do a half rebuild until I decide on the other half of the rebuild. See if I can get I didn't do that. Thank goodness. That would have been a lot of work as it turned out. It would have been nearly impossible to do that. It may not work. I may be off YouTube for quite a while. If I'm quiet for a while, I'm... More on this story coming.